What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got a lot of great Nintendo Switch 2 information, so let's go ahead and jump right in. We're going to start off with the August 2025 US Circana sales. Matt Piscatella over there, essentially MPD sales going off of that. And I want to talk about this just a bit because there's been a lot of discussion about whether you can find the Nintendo Switch 2 on store shelves, so that means it's not doing so well. But then if Nintendo did not ship enough systems, people would say that Nintendo's trying to artificially sell the system or artificially create scarcity so they can drive up demand of the system, which, by the way, happened with the Wii, happened with the Nintendo Switch 1. People said that. It's all up there. The tweets are all there. So it's almost like a no-win situation at this point when it comes to Nintendo actually having supply. But I want to talk about what's going on here because I think it's pretty interesting to see exactly what the Nintendo Switch 2 is doing at this point, especially, and I probably see the biggest thing here that people are not talking about enough is that they are launching the system in a non-holiday period, yet they're able to match and even beat out systems that have done really well in the past. So let's go ahead and jump into this here. August 2025 Circana, Matt Piscatella. He talked about the Nintendo Switch 2 sales and how it's topped 2.4 million in the US. Now, the Nintendo Switch 2 is outpacing the PlayStation 4, which is the previous record holder, just barely by around 5%. But the bigger thing here is that it's actually outpacing the Nintendo Switch 1 by 77%. And the Nintendo Switch 2 did offset double-digit declines in sales for the PlayStation 5, Xbox series of systems, and the Nintendo Switch 1. And one more thing here, about 80% of the US sales are that Mario Kart World bundle. So it's over 1.9 million at this point, not including the actual physical sales totaled onto there. So pretty crazy when it comes to the bundle sales with that. But let's discuss this because the Nintendo Switch 2 is obviously off to a pretty good start. And if you look at previous systems with PlayStation and Xbox, at least when it comes to the top or fastest selling systems, where this is kind of coming from a little bit here, they launch in the holiday period. They launch usually November, December, January, where you're going to have the maximum amount of people that are shopping, the maximum amount of people interested in buying a system, and the maximum amount of probably shortages like we've seen multiple times for generations now at this point. Now with the Nintendo Switch 1, Nintendo had no idea how much demand there was going to be for this platform. They had about 2 million systems right there for the first month. Obviously that was not enough for worldwide, so therefore people instantly went to the, oh, they're trying to create manufacturer shortages and all that, even though the Nintendo 3DS did not have a massive launch, so they're not going based off of that. And the Nintendo Wii U absolutely did not have a massive launch, and it wasn't like those were sold out everywhere and people were scalping left and right. So it's not like Nintendo could have gauged that the Nintendo Switch 1 was going to do as well as it did starting out. Now with the Nintendo Switch 2, they did not want to have the scalping issue, which was something that they talked about and they really tried to hit home on when it comes to the investor meetings. Furukawa talked about how they have multiple different things set in place, and a lot of that was actually providing stock for people to have. So they do have the advantage of being able to actually provide stock, that there's not a chip shortage, and they're able to stockpile and really delay the system till it was completely ready. They didn't have to rush to get it out during the holiday season, although there were some rumors that Nintendo did want to have the system out sometime last year, maybe right before the holiday, but they were able to push it over to this year, and they have plenty of stock. If you want to walk into a lot of different places outside of Japan, Japan is supply constrained and has sellouts pretty much every single week. But outside of that, in most places, you can just walk in and get one. And to me, that's a good thing. So we don't get the $1,000 Nintendo Switch 2 systems being scalped. There was a little bit of scalping earlier in the year around the launch and a little bit afterwards. But for the most part, you can find it overall. So that's a good thing. But like I said, the biggest thing here that people just aren't talking about is that it's not during the holiday season. Let's just be real here, guys. August, September, June, July, these are not the best months for video game hardware sales. The best months are usually at the end of the year, where you're going to see the biggest jump overall, and Nintendo has yet to hit that at this point. And they do have a big game coming up where the holiday season really kicks off. Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, that was big, but then also a new game here with Pokemon Legends ZA, which drops next week. There's also a console bundled with that, so we can really see how the holiday can kind of get going once we get to the October, November, December, and January sales. That is going to be really where you can start saying, okay, there was some movement there with these sales. There was momentum through the holiday season. People were picking up the games. They were liking it. There's too many of these fake YouTube clickbait type of analysts that don't know what they're talking about, but they'll sit there and write paragraphs. So they'll sit there and make a bunch of videos talking about sales numbers when they had no idea about sales just a few months ago. They just got into it so they can kind of get in on this YouTube revenue overall. But if you're looking at it, guys, a system is not defined by the first number of months or by the first year or so. It's defined by its library. The Nintendo Switch 1 was not selling anywhere near as much as the PlayStation 4. If you compare the sales, man, the PS4 blew the Switch 1 out in the first number of months. But somewhere throughout there, the Nintendo Switch 1 just started gaining and gaining and gaining, then completely swallowed and overtook the PlayStation 4, the previous best-selling or fastest-selling system starting out here in the US. So why did that happen? Well, it's the software. What I want to see, and I think what's going to be the biggest thing for the Nintendo Switch 2 is how are things going after Super Smash Bros., brand new big 3D Mario, brand new big Zelda game, brand new big Animal Crossing, and brand new big Gen 10 Pokemon comes out, plus maybe a brand new big Splatoon game, so Splatoon 4. Let me know how things are going after those 6 games drop. I think that's going to be more telling because that's what happened with the Nintendo Switch 1. It was great in the first year. It did good. But by 2018, obviously, they didn't have as much software. People were kind of doubting. But really, Super Smash Bros. Came out, and then things really got going after Super Smash Bros. The software lineup started being flushed throughout the whole year. We got Animal Crossing in 2020. We got other big games as well, even though we got Breath of the Wild and we got Super Mario Odyssey in that first calendar year. But a lot of the big games that really helped push the Nintendo Switch 1 were in. Of course, COVID boosted things a bit too, but it was doing well before COVID. It did well after COVID as well. So to me, that's when things really kind of make or break when it comes down to it. What happens when you get all of those big guns out on the system? Will the system do well after that? Will the system not do as well? I think that's going to be the determining factor overall. So it's going to be about maybe 2 to 3 years where we really see where this system is going to place. Don't fall for, like I said, these fake analysts on YouTube, these guys that are simply just gaming the algorithm because the AI tells them to continue making negative videos, or they're mad about having to pay $80 for Mario Kart World or something like that, right? There's a lot of nonsense that's going on here, and these sales numbers, even right now at this point, they're trying to spin a narrative to their own thing. And what we do here is we actually break it down exactly what's happening and tell you what's happened before in the past and tell you what's going to potentially happen in the future based off of a real analysis overall. So the good news is here is that the Nintendo Switch 2 is 77% up on the Nintendo Switch 1 before we even have the next big Zelda game, before we even have the next big 3D Mario game, before we have the next big Gen 10 Pokemon, before we have Animal Crossing, before we have Super Smash Bros., before we have the next Splatoon. All of those games, some of the biggest, if not biggest system sellers on the Nintendo Switch platform or on Nintendo platforms has yet to even come out, and we still have a great lineup with Pokemon Legends ZA, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, Kirby Air Riders, Metroid Prime 4, so it's still going to be pretty good. And then next year gets Fire Emblem, Mario Tennis, Yoshi, even more games. So I think that that's the biggest thing with this right here, man. Don't be swayed by some of this other stuff that's going on. Look at the actual facts, look at the numbers there, and kind of look at it like, hey, look, some people are going to try to spin this into whatever way they want to spin it, but at the end of the day, it's going to take years to really see. We're going to see what games come out. There's going to be more Nintendo Directs, and then you can kind of make your evaluation from there, just like the Nintendo Switch 1. So that's my opinion on it. I think that is a grounded way of looking at it instead of hanging on to every single month, hanging on to every single week, and trying to make a clickbait off of that. Just simply look at the sales numbers, look at what's happening, and evaluate as you go on and say, look, overall, it's going to be just like any other system. Because if you look at the PlayStation 4 versus the Nintendo Switch 1, you would think from the beginning that the PS4 is going to absolutely destroy the Switch 1 in sales, and that didn't happen. The Nintendo Switch 1 ended up becoming one of the best-selling systems of all time and could ultimately become the best-selling system of all time, as Nintendo is still selling Nintendo Switch 1s at this point 8 years later. So we'll see what happens going forward in the future, but I do want there to be competition. I do want Nintendo to do well. I want Microsoft to do well. I want Sony to do well. I want there to be competition. I want there to be exclusive games, and I want people to be able to pick and choose, and there to be competition between the companies, because I think that creates even better products overall, instead of everybody saying, let's just skip Nintendo or skip Xbox and just all go PlayStation or all go Steam. People online like monopolies with Steam. They just want everything to be on one platform. I don't. I want competition. I want better games. I want great first-party content. I want exclusive content to push the developers to do even bigger and better things. So that's just my opinion on it. What do you guys think? You can let me know in the comment section. But before we get into the next topics, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos as soon as they drop. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the next topic here, guys. We've got a delay for Mina the Hollower. So this is a game that I'm actually looking forward to quite a bit. I played the demo. Shout outs to Yacht Club Games and Celia. I work with her pretty much every week on the Spawncast, and she's awesome. And this game is awesome too, but they do need some more time to polish things up. So Mina the Hollower has been delayed to an unannounced date, but it's not a major delay according to Yacht Club Games. So it was supposed to come out on October 31st, and it's coming to PS5, Xbox Series, Switch 2, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, via Steam. It's coming to everything. So let's talk about what Yacht Club Games had to say. Recently, our team made a tough decision. We decided to delay Mina the Hollower. The entire crew has been working tirelessly day and night to finish development for release on October 31st, but we're not quite there yet. This isn't a major delay, it's just a stretch of time to apply some final polish and balancing to make the game truly shine. With that said, we would like to apologize. Nevertheless, we will not waver on our commitment to quality. Our goal was to make sure our development team has the time and resources to deliver an incredible adventure, and we'll be giving you just that. That's no hollow promise. We don't want to announce another release date until it's submitted to platforms, so just hang tight as we reach the finish line. The game is so close to being done. We're playing it from start to finish every day in the final hours. This is what the crew is working on. Finalizing design, art, and sound, overall game balancing, implementing localization, eating cheese, it's important, testing on all platforms. Thank you for your understanding and patience. Sincerely, the Yacht Club Games crew. And yeah, it's one of those things to where this just gives you a little bit of an inside look at how difficult game development can be. This is a smaller team. Yes, they're making a smaller retro style game, but you still need to test. You still need to debug. You still need to get everything polished up. There still could be potential game breaking bugs or issues that really cause your score to go down, and people don't want to buy the game anymore, even if it is a great game and there's just an issue or two. Considering the legacy of Shovel Knight and how that game launched when it did, I mean, they were able to ride Shovel Knight for such a long time, and I think that they want to do the same thing when it comes to Mina the Hollower, but you're going to have the gameplay, you're going to have the polish, you're going to have everything buttoned up at the time of release. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to hit that same level that Shovel Knight did a decade plus ago. So I think that it's important, and I think that it was good that they did this delay if they felt that it wasn't ready yet, because by the time that it is ready to go, I think that it's going to be even a better game than what we would have gotten overall. So shout outs to Celia, shout outs to Mina the Hollower, shout outs to Yacht Club, and hopefully they can get everything situated there so we can get a great game overall. So what do you guys think about Mina the Hollower? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, we're gonna get into the next topic here, guys. We're gonna discuss Nintendo Close to You video, and this one's gonna be real quick. I'm not gonna spend too much time on it because we already knew that it was Pikmin, but there was a lot of people that were just kind of saying some crazy stuff online. People that are saying this is gonna be the new direction of Pikmin, and that this is gonna somehow tie back into Pikmin 5, and it's not, guys. Nintendo has done Pikmin shorts before. They've done Pikmin stuff before, and it doesn't tie into any of the games. It's just a Pikmin animated short. They have Nintendo Pictures. They have different animation studios and different stuff that they work with. They want to be multimedia more at this point, and that's what they're doing here. That's simply it. It's like Pixar, it's like Disney, whatever the case is, right? It's just that. It's just trying to get people more of a viral marketing campaign to get more people to get eyes on what they want you to see. And it's crazy that people fall for it and keep falling for it, and even afterwards like, why'd they do that? Well, because you're continuing to talk about it right now. That's exactly why it ended up being Pikmin. This is why they do it. So you continue to ask questions, and you continue to say why, and you continue to just basically put it out there. This is marketing 101. You learn this all the time. If you go to class for marketing, they tell you it's like a mystery marketing thing. LeBron James just did it with the Decision Part 2. What was it for? It was for a Hennessy brand, alcohol or liquor or whatever, right? So it got a lot of people's attention. They were saying, what could it be? Blah, blah, blah. And then everyone wanted to know. And then it was that. So that's the reason why. Now people are talking about that. So it's a tactic that's been used a bunch of times. It's been used for decades now at this point. And I said that before in my video, and obviously it was the same thing. But it was Pikmin. I mean, they let us know with the music. It was definitely Pikmin. Pikmin can't be seen with the naked eye. And people tried to turn it into it's Pikmin 5 potential. It's going to be the direction of that. Or there's going to be something like... I'm like, oh my gosh, guys. It's just an animated short, okay? Nintendo has Nintendo Pictures. They have movies. They have all sorts of stuff. And they've done this before with Pikmin years ago. And that wasn't Pikmin 4 at the same time. So, yeah, that's that. But anyway, what do you guys think about the animated short? You can let me know in the comment section. We are going to move on to the next topic here, though, and that is going to be Nintendo Switch Online Super NES. We got some new games coming in out of nowhere. It seems like Nintendo just decides to wake up in the morning and say, all right, we're going to get some games done at this point. There's so many different systems, though. It's hard. It feels like it's so inconsistent when it comes to different platforms. So here are the games that are available for you to go and pick up and play. You've got Bubsy in Claws Encounters of the Third Kind, Fatal Fury Special, and Mario and Wario. Those are all available now at this point. And Mario and Wario is interesting because that game never released outside of Japan, but I did watch a Did You Know Gaming on that video when it comes down to it. So it's cool that it's the first time ever releasing outside of Japan. And it's a game that used the Super NES mouse, and you need the Nintendo Switch 2 mouse controls in order to play this game, because it's kind of like a point and click, you know, click to where Mario needs to go and guide him through different puzzles and all of that. So it's one of those games that's pretty weird and different for those who want that. So what do you guys think about everything we talked about here? There was quite a number of topics and conversation with Switch 2. Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.